Let's talk about one of the most common and most stressful issues at work: dismissal. Specifically, the difference between a fair and unfair dismissal, and what you should do if you feel pushed out. So what is a fair dismissal? In the UK, an employer can dismiss you, but it must fall into generally 5 different areas. So that's things like misconduct or repeated rule breaches, capability, so if you're not performing or you're unable to do job because of health reasons, redundancy, so your role no longer exists anymore, statutory restriction, so that's things like if you lose your visa or your employer loses a required license, or some other substantial reason. That's often used for business reorganisations or a breakdown of trust. So what makes an unfair dismissal? Even if your employer says it's for one of those reasons, it could still be unfair. They could have not handled the process properly, so they didn't investigate it properly, they didn't give you the chance to respond or appeal, the reason itself wasn't genuine, or it wasn't serious enough to justify your dismissal, or if the real reason was discrimination or retaliation. So for instances such as whistleblowing, you requested flexible working because you raised a complaint. And sometimes you're not dismissed directly, but you feel forced to resign. That's called constructive dismissal. Things like being demoted unfairly, having your pay cut without agreement, or being harassed until you quit. Those could all be potential grounds for a claim. Situations here: keep records. Emails, a note of a conversation, any copies of letters, but don't obtain any of this illegally. And don't put yourself in a situation where you would potentially be breaking one of your policies that would end up in your dismissal anyway. Raise your concerns internally and make sure you raise a formal grievance. Speak to ACAS and make sure you get some proper advice. And you could also look at getting legal advice, either from an employment solicitor, or if you have access to an employee assistance program or legal cover through your house insurance, that's another way to get some more advice for free. Dismissals can be overwhelming, but knowing the difference between fair and unfair and taking the right steps early can put you back in control. Don't ignore it, and don't leave it too late to act. So if you want to bring a tribunal claim, you only have 3 months less 1 day from when something has happened.